Some scandals are about appetite, some are about power, and some cross into something colder. Not just abuse, design, not just exploitation, planning. Because one of the most disturbing strands in the Epstein story was not only who he knew or what he was accused of doing, it was what he reportedly wanted to build. A place where women would be impregnated at scale, a private project to spread his DNA, a fantasy of engineered legacy dressed up in the language of science. Why this part of the story matters so much? Because it suggests something beyond indulgence, something ideological. This video is about the moment depravity starts talking like ambition. For years, reports circulated that Epstein had spoken about using his New Mexico estate, Zorro Ranch, as a base to impregnate multiple women in order to spread his DNA. That claim was not treated as mere internet fantasy. It was reported publicly and discussed by people who said they heard versions of it directly. And surrounding that idea was another pattern: his interest in eugenics, transhumanism, and private conversations with scientists about the future of humanity. The core allegation. According to multiple reports, Epstein described a plan to use Zorro Ranch almost as a breeding project. The language around it is chilling because it strips human beings down to function. Women become vessels, children become legacy, biology becomes ego, and then there were the dinners. Epstein reportedly hosted gatherings with scientists and intellectuals where ideas around genetics, intelligence, evolution, and human enhancement were discussed. Several attendees later confirmed that these meetings happened. That matters, because it means this was not just a grotesque private fantasy floating in isolation. It was being spoken aloud in elite company, in rooms filled with educated people, under the cover of intellectual seriousness, the darker meaning. This is where the story becomes even more disturbing, because once abuse starts borrowing the language of science, it can begin to present itself as vision. Not madness, not perversion, a project. That is the danger. The idea of improving humanity has a long and ugly history. And when a man already surrounded by allegations of exploitation begins speaking in that register, the meaning changes. This is no longer just about appetite without limits. It starts to look like control without conscience. Verdict. The clearest conclusion is this: the human ranching story remains one of the most bizarre parts of the Epstein case precisely because key elements of it were reported by credible people who encountered his thinking firsthand. That does not mean every retelling is precise. It does not mean every surrounding claim is equally proven. But the core picture is dark enough. A powerful man, obsessed with legacy, speaking about reproduction, genetics, and human engineering, as though other people were material. And that may be one of the clearest windows into the mindset underneath the scandal. Not just indulgence, not just secrecy. Entitlement so extreme it begins to imagine redesigning life itself. If you are watching the Unveiled Darkness, subscribe, because next, we keep following the pattern, where power stops behaving like appetite and starts behaving like ideology.